Hi guys, I'm Shmi. Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the channel where behind me we have not only my Ford GT, but also the absolutely stunning GT of Graham Rahal, who today we're going to be meeting up with to talk about this car. And one particularly cool fact about the two of them is that they were actually built on the assembly line by Multimatic in Toronto, Canada, one car beside the next. Never did I think that these two would see each other again, but here we are in California. So let's catch up with Graham, have a look at this car, and then take it out for a short little ride to see what it's about and talk a little bit more. With the sun setting in the background, how good do these two look together, parked side by side? But we are, of course, here today with Graham. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to come and take a look at this. This is so cool because when I went to see my car on the production line, of course, this stood out a lot. This was literally adjacent. And, well, yeah, I didn't obviously know where it was going to end up, who was going to purchase it, and here we are.
Yeah, it's funny because when I went as well, I saw yours and obviously the gold one was next to him, so the three cars were pretty unique in their colors, and I asked whose it was, and they did tell me who was going to end up with that, and it was pretty cool. You know, to look at the GT, you know, you're trying to think of what kind of unique things can you do? I mean, we've seen a lot of whites, even we've seen a lot of heritage, whether it was the black or the gurney car or even golf cars now. Mm-hmm. So like, what can you do that's different? And the first thought I had was an old GT40 throwback. Yeah. My dad owned a GT40, the Essex wire car, and it was like a cream white with red stripes and stuff, and they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't build it. So when I saw yours, it was really, really cool to see that they made that happen.
Mm-hmm. To do it for me with the custom stripes. But so they had that kind of run of the individual specifications, the extended palette specifications, which is one of the reasons, guys, if many of you were wondering at the time, it wasn't possible for me to make a video actually of my car in assembly because there were a lot of important customers' cars being built, including this one, which, I mean, we've just seen it with the sun setting, but it's a completely bespoke color, the purple.
It is. It started as basically Lamborghini Viola Parsife was the concept behind it. Now, of course, Ford said to me, well, we can't build it in that color because we can't use PPG paint. It needs to be Axalta. And so from there, you know, I sent them the code and they came up with a bunch of samples. So we had to identify what shade I wanted. There were some darker shades. In fact, Jeff Dunham, the comedian, has a color that's similar. It's darker purple. It also has black stripes, so I think that makes it look even a little bit darker purple than mine. But what I really like about this is in certain sunlights, it's fairly dark. It's a deep metallic purple. But then in other ways, it becomes fairly light. But there's no doubt it stands out no matter what way you're looking at it.
And then you've got the silver stripes, the contrast against it, and the gloss carbon. Our specs are actually really quite different.
They are. That's how I was looking at. You know, you've got the matte carbon versus the gloss, and obviously silver stripes. I did that to match with the silver calipers. So we've thrown some different color wheels on it in the end with HRE, who we work with. But yeah, normally mine did come with the carbon wheels. Okay. Which is why it looks kind of funky with the long studs now.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like yours. It looks proper. It looks like it should. Mine, I still haven't addressed that issue. But yeah, I think it looks really cool. You know, they are very different. You've got all the Alcantara versus mine's got the full leather, all leather.
Quick look at the interior.
You know, with the mine does have the matte carbon inside. I don't even know if there was an option for gloss.
No, it's always matte inside, but where you've got the leather over the dash, you've got the carbon side sills and the leather seats. Mine is all Alcantara over every surface. Looks completely, it kind of looks almost like stealthy and kind of menacing inside.
It does, and you know, for me, I went leather because, like you, I intended to use it quite a bit. Yeah. And my thoughts were with leather, fairly easy to clean and wipe down. Obviously, with Alcantara, you can vacuum it up and everything else. But from my racing experience with Alcantara, with the steering wheels in particular, it wears down, it becomes very flat. And so that's why I went leather. It's easy to wipe off. Yes, it can become shiny, but if you take care of it, it should be fine.
It will last longer than mine does.
We'll see.
And one of the other fun things about our two cars side by side is that they are probably two of the only GTs wearing custom wheels.
They are, yeah. And so, both, like yours, the BBSs are amazing. The FIR is an awesome wheel. When I heard they were coming out with that, it was frankly, I was pretty interested, you know, in that set. But I've always worked closely with HRE, and what I like about it is just the crazy colors that we can do. So this is frozen polished bronze. It's a color I've done on a lot of other things in the past, and I don't know. I had silver wheels on it. These exact wheels were silver when they actually launched.
Which wheel is this?
This is a P104 SC, and when this, because you can see the cutouts and stuff, it's more concave, and so when they launched that wheel, it was launched on this car, but it was silver.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, like, it was too bland for me. So I sent them back. And they also launched the HRE 3D printed wheel, which is going to be pretty cool. It's a carbon wheel, 3D printed center with GE technology, which is awesome.
Which is exactly how I saw your car at some of the events during Car Week.
Yeah, so it was all over Car Week. They had it up in Detroit at a big technology show. But in the end, we went back and went with the trusty P104 SCs, which I love. So,
which are also wearing Pilot Sport 4S tires.
That for me, again, was that being that I drive it a lot.
Yeah,
we were joking about this off camera about how in Europe, roads are kind of made for the rain. You expect the weather. Out here in California, where I live part of the year, in Indianapolis the other part, you don't get rain out here. So when it rains, it's like ice.
It's lethal.
And so, the puddling is awful, and so the 4S is just a great all-around tire. So that's why this has that. I don't intend to track this. I have a great track day toy, so this is not something I intend to track. But that for me was just an all-around good tire to use.
Definitely. I've been well aware with the Sport Cup 2s that if the weather should turn foul, I probably need to park the car up.
Yeah, but you're British, you guys are like experts in the rain. So
we know about rainfall.
You'll be fine.
But both cars do have the Akrapovic exhaust system, which is very, very nice. And overall, it has to be said, I think the spec is fantastic. Can we hop on board, take it for a short little run?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, perfect. Sounds good, cold start. Let's come around then, open this up, take a step inside. It's looking very clean in here. Okay, J218 minus J211. So we're just a couple apart. Oh, there are some differences. Of course, yours says brake as opposed to mine just shows a little handbrake icon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's some software differences between the different
sometimes
markets.
It's supposed to automatically go off too when you put it in gear, but sometimes that doesn't really work as well.
Oh, it's so cool to look through the purple buttresses. We will say farewell to my car for a moment, which is still bizarre, being a UK reg all the way out here.
I was going to say, have the police given you any headaches of that?
I've had a couple. And then we've also got to talk about the Mini, but I think we'll save that for a moment. The Mini is super cool.
Yeah, the Mini's my baby. Yeah, for the most part, I've absolutely loved this car. If I could say anything, I would just say, like, I wish it was slightly louder. The exhaust, even with the aftermarket, well, factory. The factory sports. Yeah, sport exhaust. It still is fairly quiet inside, which for me, I would love if it was had a little bit more noise. The sun is setting, but it's pretty cool to be in here. As I say, this vehicle is equipped with advanced airbags. I wonder if mine has the advanced airbags, it just doesn't tell me about it. And of course, US spec. I thought I'd leave that tag on there just in case someday. I don't know, collectors, anybody who might buy this in the future, although now that we've got just over 1,000 miles, nobody's going to collect this car. This is definitely not, like you, this is not a garage queen. This is your car, this is a driven car. She gets out quite a lot, but I don't know, I thought it'd be cool to just have someday. No, I agree, I'm just the same. In fact, on my McLaren 675, I've still never taken the screen protector. Yeah. And even on my Focus RS Heritage, which has the same software as this, I've still got the protector on it as well. I was going to say, it's the same. That's the one thing, you look at like where the lights turn on and off, or even the key for this car, it's the same as like an F-150, you're like, it could be a little bit higher end than that. That's part of the thing with it, right? It's a Ford, it's supposed to have some of those shared components, like and it is, because you take it, you drive this car, and no matter where you go, you get a thumbs up. Yeah. Oftentimes you drive a Lamborghini, you drive a Ferrari, you drive something like that. It's an invitation for people to be kind of rude towards you. Yeah. It's kind of like a little bit of hatred towards
Yeah, the
towards what you're doing.
that, for sure.
People see this, so, oh my, what is that thing? You know, it's a Ford. I'm like, no, the Ford doesn't make anything like that. So it definitely is a good conversation starter, and it's, you know, I think it's cool for kids to see in particular, stuff like that.
Your experience of that is exactly the same as mine. But that's the kind of reaction that this car creates. It's just a beautiful, peaceful evening right now.
It is, and I think that, you know, this car, what I love the most, you probably had this experience, but when I went to the factory, what I thought was very cool was, you know, it was my car, your car, the gold car, there was a golf car, but at any point in time, that chassis, that tub could be yanked and become a race car.
Oh yeah.
This is a race car. It is the same. The roof is bondoed the same. The tub is the exact same.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the roll cage is inside the apex.
Yeah, it's just covered.
Yeah, it's just a protection over the front of it.
That is so cool, you know, in a time when, in being in racing myself, obviously, in a time when, you know, most race cars are a street car that is now like, let's find a way to make this go racing.
Yeah.
This car was a purpose-built race car that now let's try to find a way to make it acceptable to be on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel it, right? It's rough inside. I mean, there's not a whole lot of headroom for a guy like myself.
No, with your height, you'd struggle to put a helmet on inside.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But in fact, if I ever, like, you know, do my hair and want to go to dinner and look half decent, my hair rubs on the ceiling. That drives me a little bit crazy, but it's all good.
And it's not exactly the coziest thing. I'm just going to emphasize that I'm actually sitting slightly to the side so that I don't kind of disturb you.
Yeah.
Holding on, it's very snug inside the GT.
Definitely bumping elbows.
Yeah, that's for sure. But it's even, you know what, the strange thing for me is that even though I guess mine is parked up at your house, still being inside here with you, I'm still like excited about being in the car. It's so cool.
Definitely every time you get in, it's a different experience. You know, around here too, sometimes we go up with some buddies, you know, towards Malibu and do some canyon runs and stuff. And what I also find really unique and fun about this car is you take it from a normal driving mode and you go to like a sport, and all of a sudden the anti-lag kicks in. There's a lot more pops and crackles, and the throttle response is better, and the whole deal. Now, I've never put it in track mode. I just driven it really on the street. But
you've done it for a photo, surely?
I've done it for a photo, yeah. I mean, it looks so good when it's slammed. I mean, the tires are up in the wheel wells. That's pretty awesome,
you know,
for sure.
You've got to try it, because track mode obviously puts it into that secondary suspension.
Yeah.
Like completely different setup, where it drops out of the off the hydraulic system onto the kind of racing setup, and it's a completely different car. Yeah,
and this car, again, you know, really with the suspension set up the way that it is with torsion bars and stuff, very different than an ordinary street car as well. Which is good and bad, right? I mean, I know that there's a very high cost to doing it that way. Again, you can see that, you know, this car was just so engineering driven when it was built. And that's really cool, but it's also not that cost effective. You know, when you look at it from a race team standpoint, it's pretty expensive. But it's very unique. I mean, just like McLaren does, obviously with their suspension. I think it's 600 LT goes back to an ordinary, you know, spring and damper sort of setup. But you know, pretty unique ways that they're coming up with, you know, suspensions these days.
It is comfortable though to be in the passenger seat. Smooth, comfortable, and that view that I don't often get to see from the driver. I don't know if you've ever been a passenger, but you get to see from the passenger side straight through the buttress.
I have not.
Of course, the way the mirrors are positioned from the driver, you kind of just see it, just the outside edge.
I don't think I trust anybody.
I've let a couple of people drive mine, but people I trust, that's for sure. People I trust a lot. We're just in here. I love the silver stripe over the bonnet.
Looks awesome. Now with you, I gotta get my paddles. I gotta get silver paddles to go with my stripe.
But yeah, I'm a big purple fan as well. I've always liked my purple cars.
The purple turned out well, and like I said, I don't know why, but on Instagram in particular, I've become kind of known for purple cars, but I just kind of have run with it now. It started GT3, GT2 RS, then this, my AMG GTR Pro is coming. It should be at port in the next 3 days.
Oh, nice.
That's going to be confirmed as the only purple Northern Lights Violet Metallic order in the world, so that should be cool. But we run with it. We'll have some fun, whatever.
Definitely, I've got to see that one. I hope you post up some pictures of it.
Oh, it'll be on
I would love to see a
For
purple
sure.
GTR Pro. Mine is a less exciting diamond white.
Still looks good. Looks aggressive, for sure.
Yeah, that was my plan, my theory with it. But yeah, I'm quite enjoying riding in a Ford GT, to be honest.
Yeah.
Different experience of the same car, but
I'm not a good passenger, but
well, I think that's often the case with people who are race drivers.
For sure.
You like being in control and knowing what the car's doing properly.
But it's been fun to at least go for a quick drive here.
I appreciate it, thank you. From one GT to another then. Still unusual with the license plates. Let's just hope no trouble to come with that. But seeing these two parked side by side has been pretty incredible. But I think we should talk about your daily driver in a second.
We can do that.
We can get out and talk about your daily driver.
Definitely do that.
Well, thank you very much for the run out. So let's open up the doors. Electronic release for the door just there. Pop that open. Oh, there we go. Back outside. Alrighty then. So epic. This colour, especially with the low light on it, just looks awesome.
That angle is awesome with the sun setting.
It really is. And a fun fact for those watching, your lights are entirely red, whereas my lights, being European spec, if I just unlock it, are half amber, as you see there.
That's crazy,
Yeah, different market. So that's like the brake thing that you have on the dashboard for the e-brake, as you call it, handbrake as we call it. Small differences for different regions, which is why they cost so much over in Europe, because you have to import it, pay VAT, pay duty, and convert them, and all of that jazz, which is no fun. But hey, epic things.
Special car though.
It's a very special car, as is this. Now, many people viewing will know that I have a soft spot for minis because I ran a classic mini for a while. The Schmini, as we nicknamed it.
Schmini, yeah,
but
awesome.
yours is even more special.
Well, kind of. So I bought this, I shouldn't say my dad bought this for me in, probably 2006. And so I was going into my senior year in high school. And the high school I went to, you had to spend 100 hours doing something that you loved, but basically something you're going to learn about. So some kids went off and, interned at a law office or something like that. That was not of interest. So I always wanted to learn how to restore a car. So in Bowling Green, Ohio, middle of nowhere, for $2,000, we find this 1964 South African S model. Yeah. It had a 1098 engine in it, which was slow as molasses. I drove the thing home. I went up, picked it up. It was British Racing Green. White roof, white mirrors. It didn't have the flares, obviously. It had standard wheels. So it was an S, but it was also pretty stripped down in the way that this particular S came. And so, this for a long time was my daily. And I can tell you, being that, we're in California part-time, obviously Indianapolis the other for most of the year. But trying to daily drive this in the California heat is not something that's really that comfortable. I put my dog in the back. He'd hang out in the back seat. That's why probably the windows have slobber, as you can see all over them. The only thing I recently did was my fuel tank split, so I had to get a new tank, but I decided to go with the big, more modern, it's a big capacity fuel tank, which helped me. But yeah, I mean, I love this thing. This has become kind of my baby. I've had it forever. It's just probably about to go back to restoration, to go back to British Racing Green white roof. I feel like now it needs to, with the value of minis rising, they have. It probably needs to go back to how she really was.
Well, I approve of that choice. Mine was British Racing Green as well.
It's awesome.
I had Racing Green with a silver roof, and I had silver stripes on the bonnet. It was mine was one of the last, not an earlier one, but
this is the most fun you can have. It is the most fun you can have in a street car. It is the most connected you could ever be. Mine's right-hand drive.
Yeah. That's true.
But to me, I just don't know that you can possibly have any more fun than a mini.
Your kind of seats are much more chair-like than mine. Mine were more kind of a back and a base, and that was that.
That's how maybe that's not period. Well, it certainly is period correct, but I don't know if they came like that, if they were changed over time. Yeah. But that's certainly. I actually recovered these myself, did all the stitching and everything else, but I would probably, again, it was like a dark green. It was almost like a British Racing Green. Yeah. The steering wheel was as it was and everything else. Mine didn't have anything, there was no air conditioner or anything like that. It was just the center tack like that, pretty basic. And so I left it, as she was. In fact, for a long time, until recently, I didn't put the carpet back in. so it's pretty noisy all the time.
Okay.
I kind of left it, you know, pretty stripped out, and we did that and put the door panels back in recently, but I would probably put it back to the green seat.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've got to make it original. I did, you know, with being the time period and everything else, and you know, the 1098 was so slow, couldn't get out of my own way. Oh, I got a nice new mini badge on there. That is to protect, that is to hide a nice dent that was in the front.
Well, it works.
Flip.
That's quite funny.
But so, you know, the biggest thing, I mean, it's got a 1275 HP. Mini Mania rebuilds these, and they make pretty good power. And then I put dual carbs. Mine had a big single, but it really ran. It ran terribly. So we did this. But, you know, for the heat out here, she runs pretty good. My wife Courtney and I were driving home from dinner the other night, and the brakes blew out on me, so I had to, you know, go and get new fittings and everything. But she's good now. She runs well. I love this thing.
Well, we share that. We share a love of Ford GTs and of old Minis, which is quite nice. And here it is also surrounded by your fantastic collection of Ducati bikes.
Yeah. I've got a bad addiction with Ducatis, I must admit. But I've been fortunate over the years to find good collections and piece stuff together. Probably, you know, my racing number is 15, so the coolest thing I've been able to do is that relationship with Ducati. You know, I've been able to get pretty much, you know, every single bike, every specialty bike nowadays is number 15. And I happened to get so lucky the other day and come across a Super Mono, which is probably the best collector bike, you know, I would say the Ducati's ever made. And it turns out that one's unridden, and it's number 15. So Lucky's people are like probably like, why are they just shoved in here? I put them in the house too, but that just showed up. So that one's that's never gonna go. That's the cornerstone of the collection for sure.
Hey, I think it's cool. I think it's incredible to be around them. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about everything, but I mean
they look good.
Yeah, they look incredible.
That's how I started. That's how I fell in love with them. Their artwork. I mean, for me, I literally originally bought them when I was a little kid. My dad had a Ducati. I think back to those days, it was nuts. I used to sit on the back, and he'd be up front and just reach behind and hold you as you're going down a back road, which was nuts. But to me, they're just beautiful. They're pieces of art, and so that's why, like, if you go in our house, we don't have paintings on the walls. There's nothing else, but there is like 6 Ducatis that are kind of, that is my form of artwork. So it's
cool. Amazing. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to come and see both your GT and the other bits and pieces and toys that you have around.
Thank you for coming, man.
It was great to meet up. And yeah, wow, well, fantastic collection, epic car, and yeah, good time. So thank you very much. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. For today, that is all. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.